On Captain's Comic Log, we are talking all about the power of will. Welcome to Geek Devotions, a channel from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting you know that you are loved. My name is Captain Nostalgia, and normally I am the host of the Suicide Prevention Pop Culture Podcast, Victims and Villains. If you guys would like to check out our YouTube channel or to give us a listen, we have links in the descriptions below. But for the purpose of this video, we are talking exclusively about Green Lantern New 52 era issues 1 through 5, and we're talking about the first volume entitled Sinestro. Now, just a couple of things to keep in mind. This is on the tail end of Geoff Johns' amazing run on the Green Lantern Corps. 2, this is during a company-wide relaunch entitled The New 52 that took place in 2011. And 3, just some brief history on the Sinestro character. Sinestro was a character that was created by John Broome and Gil Gane, and he made his debut in Green Lantern's second volume, specifically issue number 7 in August 1961. When he was introduced, Sinestro was basically a fellow Green Lantern Corps until he was dishonorably let go. And when he was let go, he went off to start his own corps that ran on the color yellow, which is fear. So for those of you guys that don't know, Green Lantern as a core, what powers their rings is actually the power of will, and what breaks the power of will is the color yellow, aka the color fear. And so Geoff Johns actually, to start out his New 52 run, did something rather bold, and he gave Sinestro back his power ring and decommissioned Hal Jordan, who is probably the most famous Green Lantern ring bearer. Sinestro enlists the help of a decommissioned Hal Jordan in order to save him, to save his homeworld from his own creation of the Sinestro Corps, from enslaving his homeworld. And long story short, basically Sinestro gives Hal a pseudo power ring that is powered by Sinestro's own ring. I know, complex stuff. So when the New 52 was actually created, it was created with the initiative to bring in new readers. That way, when you have a whole relaunch of number ones, it's a jumping on point for people to jump on. Maybe people that haven't read comics in years, that wanted to get back into the medium, people that wanted to start getting into the medium because this was right around the time that the superhero genre was really starting to get big cinematically. And there are titles like Wonder Woman by Brian Azzarello is a great example. Scott Snyder's run on Batman, another great example. Geoff Johns over on Aquaman and Justice League. There were a lot of great titles that really gave people a starting off point and did it really well, and really welcomed brand new readers and gave old readers, returning readers, a really fresh take on these older characters. And my biggest complaint about this story is that Green Lantern did not do that. And I have been wanting to read this era of Green Lantern for a while. It takes place a couple years after Blackest Night, which is one of my favorite storylines in comics. And this one just doesn't really do that whole introduction thing really well. It seems like you have to know a lot of background knowledge before jumping in on this. It seems like a continuation of the mythology that Johns had already set up rather than a fresh starting point. But with that aside though, Johns does a really fantastic job at crafting a world of wonder here. And the thing that I really have admired about Geoff Johns' writing on this Green Lantern title is that he has always kind of had these subplots that have basically been what is to come in the world of Green Lanterns. And for here, he does a really good job at starting to set up a storyline that's not going to pay off until I think it starts paying off around the 12th or the 13th issue of this run. And he does a really great job at doing that. It's just enough to kind of keep you intrigued, but not enough to really take away from the overall story. And that's something that I really admire about Johns as a writer. Not only that, but it also allows this world to breathe in a way that keeps audiences coming back, while also making the world feel complete. There are aspects of the storytelling overall that just kind of make this story feel a bit more complicated. And while I do appreciate his setup for future storylines, to other readers, I can look at it and understand and say, this is clearly going to turn some people off, because there is a lot of overcomplication. Even with the overall storyline, there are just factors in it that you don't really need to have. But then you have, on the flip side, you have the art of Doug Mahnke, and he truly brings this world alive. And the art is one of my favorite portions of this comic. It gives a truly colorful and beautiful world to explore. And even in the midst of this war that is being set up between the Green Lantern and the Sinestro Corps, Mahnke manages to create this world of awe, where you have mostly a darker background with space. He manages to really bring these color and give this world a lot of color, which is something that I really, really loved. Cosmic titles are always the hardest to make pop and really stand out, but Mahnke really does a marvelous job at illuminating this world and the mythology. So overall, Green Lantern Volume 1, entitled Sinestro, is a space of missed opportunity, but also really beautiful. Geoff Johns on writing duty, the world feels both full and unnecessarily overly complex. But I respect the man for what he is trying to do, but I understand at the same time, as a new reader, this is going to turn people off, or they're going to feel a little bit lost. There are some background knowledge that's not really established. You kind of have to figure out from context. But for the first arc, it's just so busy. You have the Guardians with their storyline, you have Hal and Carol with their storyline, you have Hal adjusting back to life after the corpse, then you have Sinestro and this war, and it's so busy. And so the art of Doug Mahnke, however, is a world of beauty and magic. The cosmic nature of Mahnke's art allows the comic to light up in such a unique and fantastic way. And so for me, this month, Comics Captain Log, I am giving Green Lantern Volume 1, entitled Sinestro, a 3 out of 5. If you guys are into the Green Lantern mythology, what is your favorite comic arc to read and why? Make sure that you guys comment below. Would you guys like to see more Green Lantern related material here on the Comics Captain Log? Leave comments below. And more importantly, if you guys are watching this right now and you or someone you know is struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, please reach out. Suicide is currently the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. There are 123 suicides that take place each and every day, and when you scale back internationally, there are 800,000 successful suicides. That is one death roughly every 40 seconds. So if you or someone you know is struggling, you guys can reach out to us on any of our social media. Whether it is Geek Devotions or whether it is Victims and Villains. We have links in the descriptions below, but until next time,